Hello again. Today my Copic video is on coloring African American skin. I had gotten asked by quite a few people to make a video about this, so it's kind of not information that's out there, so I hope this will be helpful to everyone. I'm going to do two different color skins, a lighter cocoa colored and a little bit darker, and I'll also show you how I do their hair when I make their skin a little darker. For this first one, and this is a Magnolia image, in case you're wondering, I use E25, E13, E11, and E21, and then for the cheeks I'm going to use R32. And as usual, if you've watched my videos, I always start with my darker color. And this is the color that I'll use the least of. So I'm just going around the edges of her face. I'm going to keep the center of her face lighter. So just kind of around the edges with the E25. And then I'm taking E13, coloring over what I've done, and outwards just a bit. And I'm working in circles, but I'm going to go back and blend some more. And that was with E13. Now I'm going to take E11 and going over what I've already done and inwards just a bit more. I want to get these lines blended. And then I'm going to take my lightest color, which is the E21, and I'm going to color over what I've done. Now I'm going to take my E13 and I'm going to go back and really blend those outer edges. And when you work with these darker colors, of course, it takes a little bit more work to get a good blend. Just remember that. You just don't want harsh lines in the face. So I'm really trying to work that in. And then I'm going to take my E11 and go back in that center part and just work forward a little bit so you get a nice blend. And then I'm going to take my R32. I usually use an R20 for blush, but when you're using a darker color on skin, you need to use a darker pink for cheeks. And that's her face. And actually I'm going to take my E21 again and just kind of go over everything. And again, then the E13. Same thing with the face, except I'm only using 3 colors this time. And then the E11. And then you just go in and blend really well. And then for her hair, I'm going to use E25, E47, and E49. I'm going to use a little bit darker color towards her face. You want the hair to show up. And since this is curly hair, there's going to be different places of lowlights and highlights. This is the E49, and this is definitely the darker. So I'm not using a ton of this. Put a little bit more here. And then I'm taking the E25 that I used for the face. And I'm just going to go back in there and kind of blend these. And you can go back in and, make the hair darker if you feel that it's, not enough contrast. That's totally up to you. But you can kind of start out that way and then go back in and start adding some more dark. But, with the Copics, that's the great thing, is that you can continue to build your color and tweak it as you go along. That's why I always say start out with a little bit of the dark, because you can always go back and add it. It's harder to erase it, get rid of it, than it is to add it. Okay, moving on. This cute little stamp is by Mo's Digital Pencil, and I will have the link at the end of this video for you if you're interested. And this little girl's name is Keisha. She's quite a cutie. So for the darker skin, I'm going to use E29, E27, and E13. And same technique that I always use. You just kind of have to figure out where you want the light to hit her face. The last one I had done the center lighter. This time I'm going to have this left side a little lighter, which means the right side is going to be the more shaded. I'm just going to go a little bit down here. A little bit in her ear. And then E27. I'm going to come in and do a little bit more. And then E25. And notice how I'm kind of coming forward a little bit more each time. And E13. And again, when you're working with the darker colors, it does take a little bit longer to blend. You really have to work your markers. And I would do the same thing, with her neck and shoulders. Have the under part of her arm a little darker. And this is E25 that I have in my hand right now. And then E13. And again, this is the darker of the two skins. And so again, at this point, I would go back and just make sure all my edges are blended. And for her hair, I'm going to go a little bit darker this time. This is going to be E49. Again, this part of her hair is going to be a little bit lighter. The sun's hitting it. This part's going to be the darkest. I'm just kind of making my own little darker highlights here. I'm going to take E47, go back in. And then E25. And of course you can make the hair lighter if you wanted to. I like it a little darker. And then I'd go back in with my darker markers again and add a little bit more darkness in a few places. And then again, because you're working on a darker skin, you want to use a darker pink for the cheeks. And I just go in and would do that. And then of course I always use my highlighter, and I would just go in and kind of add a few places there. But that's how I would do a darker color skin. And at the end of this video I'll list the Copics that I use for both skins. So anyways, I hope this was helpful to you, and thanks for stopping by.